Welcome to Espiritu Coffee Chats, where we brew up inspiring conversations over a warm cup of coffee. I'm Valerie, the co-owner of Surge Coffee Co., where we highlight culture and community in all of our drinks.
And I'm Arlene, the owner of Lunasoulwellness. As a holistic realtor, interior designer, and spiritual coach, I'm excited to bring a unique perspective to our chat.
Together, we'll explore the world of herbalism, spirituality, and the entrepreneurial journey.
We will also dive into our Latina backgrounds and how we navigate the everyday world.
So grab your favorite mug and settle in, and let's dive into today's chat. Welcome back to another episode of Espiritu Coffee Chats. And you're going to hear Frida in the background a little bit because we kicked her out and she's mad at us.
Yeah. Sorry, Frida.
So today's episode, we're going over some human design stuff.
Yes, since we are upon a new era of 2025, I'm sure a few of you are feeling or have been feeling some intense energy. Astrologically, there's just been a lot going on in the stars and in the sky and transits hitting us. But yeah, we're in a new zone. We're in a new Aquarian age. We are in possibly a new president at this point. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot going on in the world. And with that said, I think we wanted to share about January being like a month of just like manifestation, or even if you're listening to this later on, or if we happen to air it later, it is that season of what does it look like ahead? What are the things? And like a lot of people don't know that they can use their astrological charts or their human design charts to like use that as a tool and a guide. Because I don't know how many vision boards I've made. And then by the end of the year, I look at them and I'm like, yeah, I did none of that.
Yes.
Like it was great to have a vision, but then I'm like, but this is just reminding me of what I didn't do.
Yes. Yeah. All the things I wanted to do and I didn't.
Yeah. So it's like just being realistic about what it is that you call in and what it is that you manifest. And it's okay to dream big. I mean, there's vision boards that I've had where, you know, I've definitely checked off all the things. And there's other vision boards that I'm like, oh, like it took time to grow that. Like I remember my European trip I had on my vision board to go to Italy in like 2018. And then we actually ended up planning it to be in, and it happened for 2020, but then the world got shut down. So I was like, ooh, it was there. It was going to happen, but then never mind. Let's just add that on to the next year's vision board. And eventually I ended up going in 2023, but it was nice to be like, oh, I remember when that manifestation first happened. So it's not to say that everything that you have on this vision board is going to check off, but I think it's just about dreaming big, but then also making small decisions that you can have on your vision board every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also a friendly reminder that like manifesting is not just like wishing things happen and that they happen. Like it does require some intentional action behind them, behind what you're doing. Like Arlene said, the small decisions that lead to your manifestations. And also manifestations don't always happen fast. Sometimes it can take years for these things to come true.
Yeah. So I wanted to dive in and share a little about what we can look at when it comes to our spiritual charts, like human design. I'm just pulling up mine and then we're going to take a peek at Valerie's. We're just using ours as an example. If you ever want us to use you as an example for anything, feel free to message us your spiritual charts. You go to espiritucoffeechats@gmail.com and you can send us your chart and we'll be more than happy to use you in a future episode of what does it look like for A, B, C, and D, right? Mm-hmm. I think that'll be really fun. And then you can comment and be like, oh yeah, that was right or that was wrong.
Yeah. It's what's his name? Art LeBeau's Love Line Station.
Oh my God, Art LeBeau. I forgot about that. Ooh. I wonder,
aging us a little.
I think Art LeBeau was all over the country, right? I don't know if it was just like a California thing.
No, I think it was everywhere. I thought it was everywhere.
Sunday night, the Art LeBeau show.
I'm pretty sure it was everywhere, girl. All the people calling from prison and stuff to leave notes and stuff for their significant others.
That's probably like most of 50% of the listeners. Yes. I love me some Art LeBeau. I was listening to the Kendrick Lamar album. He has a couple of nice throwbacks. So I was like, ooh, I like that little remix.
So good. K. I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan all the way.
Okay, so we digress. Sorry. Okay, human design. I like to let people know that there's a part in your chart that specifically does share about manifesting and what are the right ways. There's no really right or wrong way, but what is the like, how can I say, like with human design, everything is working with the universe. Like whatever you want to call that, you can label it however you want to label it. I'm just going to name it as a universe. And how we work with the universe is based on our chart, right? So how do we communicate? How do we talk to the universe? It's all in our human design chart. There's a little part in the chart that has arrows. And if you look at your human design chart and you pull it up, there's arrows that are going to be like towards the head of the body graph. And some of them are pointing in different ways. So there's 4 arrows, 2 on the red side, 2 on the black side. And those arrows have a story. And this is where in human design, it's called the primary health system. This is where we're going to look at your chart to see, okay, how should you digest your food? What kind of foods should you be eating? How do you digest your food? How do you digest information? What does your environment need to look like? Like, how does your home need to look? Or is there a certain part of the world, maybe you're more of like a water person or a mountains person or a kitchens person. So there's all that stuff, and it's more about understanding the arrows through the lens of like health, and like how health is so holistic. Nice. It's like, it's your environment, it's what you eat, it's how you think. So those are the arrows control all that part. But the last part, very last arrow, it's going to be in the black. If you're watching the video, then we'll put like a little picture of it in here somewhere. And it's going to be on the black side of the chart. I know some charts are now like apps are coming out, so they're making them different colors, but the best way I can say is if you're looking at your phone and you're looking at your chart, it's going to be on the right side. So you're looking at the arrows that are on the right side of the body graph, and they might be in black, and you're going to be looking at that bottom arrow. So there's only 2 arrows on that side, and it's going to be the bottom one. So if that bottom arrow is, you're only looking at whether it's pointing left or right. So if it's a left arrow, then you're basically a specific manifester. So you're here to really manifest in a strategic way. It's more of a masculine energy. And that's to say, honestly, holistically, if you just look at even all of the 4 arrows in your chart, there is a way of like understanding you have more feminine and masculine in you. It'll tell you by the way the arrows are.
Interesting.
For me, all of mine are pointing to the left. So I'm sorry, to the right. So that's a more passive arrow. Arrows that are pointing to the left are more active arrows, more masculine. Feminine, she's more passive. It's like a passive approach where everything, the opposite is more of that masculine, like active energy. So in the way my environment, my brain, the way everything works is a little more of a passive. I'm a delayed reactor person. I take time to I'm more of an observer. I'm like just stepping back and thinking. I need to digest the information a lot slower than most people or some people. But the only arrow that I have that is in that masculine direction, it's pointing to the left, is my manifestation arrow. And I used to trip out because I used to be like, if I wanted something and if I really put my mind into it, if I can vision it and see it, I would get it.
Nice.
And it was just damn. And my husband would be like, damn, girl, like, how do you? And I'm like, I don't know, but now I know. So that's good to know if you have an arrow that's pointing to the left, is that you are here to be specific. So what does that mean, Arlene? What that means is you're here to be specific. It's if I want to move to, I actually want to move to Spain eventually. I would like to uproot all my whole family and move to Spain for 2 years. I want to live in, we were looking at Valencia or in Barcelona, somewhere in that lane.
Nice.
And then I would like to have our home that we live in San Diego and rent that out and have some good renters. I would also want to have a job where I can still bring in income, but I'm working like internationally. And then also have my kids go to school there and learn another language, have a cute little Spanish like apartment with a cute little balcony. But see how I'm like being very specific. I want it to be centrally located. I want it to be close to a nice big food mart, and I could walk out of my house and there's a coffee shop. There's restaurants, there's things to do. Like there's all this fun stuff. And the more specific you get, the more, and you trust that though. The other thing is just trusting it. Like you can't just be like, oh yeah, I want to have blah, 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 blah. What you just said earlier, like you can manifest all the time that you want, but if you don't actually believe that you can really achieve it or do it, or you don't feel like there's an actual plan that you can plan for that, then I don't know that you're sending the universe a mixed message. Cause it's, yeah, I know you say you want all this, but you're not showing me that you want it. It's like you're dating, like the universe, if you look at it, it's like you tell me you love me, but you didn't even give me flowers. Like you said, you want to give me flowers. You want to give me these big bundle of red roses, but like you think you want to, but you don't actually want to because you don't go out and try and get it. You don't even look up the store. That's how a specific manifestor is supposed to work. They're supposed to be very specific on what they want to a T, but then also it's almost like a feeling from the heart. Like I do know at some point in my life, I will do this. Because me and my husband talk about it all the time. We actually sit down and be like, how can we make this happen? And really, it's just the jobs. We've talked to our kids.
Nice.
We're like, would you just uproot and leave from your school or whatever? I have a 14-year-old freshman and a 10-year-old daughter who's in 5th grade. So they're very much in school.
Yeah.
But we do some check-ins here and there.
Nice.
Because we're like, hey, you never know. Like, the universe might just bring us an opportunity. And that's how I felt like it's worked for me, where it's been very much like an opportunity thing. But I've already had that, like even moving to San Diego, it was like me and my husband talked about it a lot. And we actually drove out here a lot for 2 years before we actually got to the place that we live in now. Nice. But we just knew that's what we wanted. So that's like the universe wants to see you take actions. And then it's, okay, so you are serious about it. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then we got an opportunity and we just jumped on it.
Nice.
And that one of the many things that I can say that has happened that I was like, I don't even know how we're ever going to move to San Diego. Cause at the time it just didn't seem within reach, but hey, stuff happens, the pandemic and you get 2% interest rates. But again, we knew this is what we wanted. So we jumped on it. And my husband didn't even have a job like out here in San Diego.
Wow.
So it was all these not really knowing where the what is that? Where the nails are going to fall?
Yeah. Where the path goes. Yeah.
Something like that. You guys know what I mean? But still, it's wow, oh shit, we wanted this and look, it's happening. So we'll just figure it out as we go and just trust the process. And that was like, again, like trusting the universe, like this is all, and it really did. Like it all settled by the time we needed jobs and all these things, like everything just literally fell into our laps.
Nice.
So I feel like that might happen for us. We'll see. TBD.
Yeah. That's so cool. And yeah. What is that saying? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So Val is totally opposite than me. So this is your chart. These are the arrows that we're looking at.
Okay. Interesting.
And I'm mostly all to the right. And you're actually mostly all to the right too. And you got one arrow that's to the left. This is the digestion arrow.
Oh.
So it's very active. Yeah, that's a dumpster dive. We'll get into that in a
Yeah,
future
it's
episode.
a whole nother episode.
Yeah, that's the episode. But specifically for this episode, we're working with manifestation. So her arrow is opposite of mine. Mine was, remember, pointing to the left. So it was very specific manifesting, or yours is pointing to the right, which is more of non-specific manifesting. So it's more passive. And everybody gets freaked out when they hear this. They're like, so I can't manifest? And it's, no, you can. It's just different. My process here is to tell the universe what I want and to trust that what I want, like my own will, is going to happen. So it's like me trusting. It's both trusting in the universe, right? But it's like me telling the universe what I want. Yeah. And me being very strategic about it, and masculine, I guess, about it. Where for you, a non-specific manifestor type is more so here to be a passive manifestor. Like it would look like, okay, I want to move to New York and I want to do it in 2 years, 3 years, between 2 and 5 years. That's a very great example of a non-specific manifestor. There's a bubble, a time frame where on my end, I'm like, I would like it to happen in like a year and a half. That'd be great. And I have to be very set with this is what I want. Okay. Where you're more of, okay, this is an idea. This is the vibe. Yeah. So I'm going to move to New York and I'm going to move it toward somewhere in the city and probably a little central. But again, it's because the whole point is the universe is there to be like, you need to lay back and let me be the driver. Yeah. The universe is the curator of the experience. Yes. I'm just telling it what I'm down for. Exactly. Yes. And I'm like, I'm here to be the driver. Like, this is what you're going to give me, where versus you're like, you have to trust the universe. Like that is the kind of deal that you made. Like I need to trust that I'm going to be taken care of. And then the more specific that you get, then the universe is, oh, so you don't trust me? Because you're supposed to let me lead you. You're not supposed to lead me. Interesting. Okay. So it is very much a like being, not to say that you can't manifest. Your vision board would just be very like, this is the neighborhood that I would like to live in. Maybe you don't even describe the house. Okay. You have an idea, but it's not so set and specific. Got it. So it's really just being, like I said, like the time frame. At some point in the next 5 years, this is what I would like. And the more you get into that, then the more you open up that portal. Okay. In a sense. Cool. With everybody vision boarding right now, just really take that into cue on how you're creating your vision boards. Most people, the way we're taught is cut out all the magazines, be very specific. You can still do that if you're a non-specific manifester, but it's like creating, like what you just said, create the vibe on your vision board. Not so much it needs to be a blue house and it has to have a yellow door and it needs to be on this block. It's more of just a nice house would be great in this neighborhood.
Yeah. A nice house in a walkable area with coffee shops that I love.
Yeah. Please. A walking score of 2. Wait, 2 is good, right?
I have no idea. I was going to say 98, girl.
This.
I'm on a different scale.
I should know this. Anyways, the other thing I wanted to bring up was when we are working with manifesting for this year of 2025, we're walking into a retrograde of planets. If you're not familiar with retrogrades, are you familiar with retrogrades?
A little bit, but not really.
Okay. When a planet's in retrograde, it means it's not doing its best. It's not like a horrible thing. It's just like it's revisiting, it's retracking its steps.
Like the shadow side where...
Can be, depending on what zodiac sign it's in, and especially on where it's at in your chart, like how's that playing out. But it's more so like when Mercury's in retrograde, it's, it's debilitated. It's not at its most functioning. So like when Mercury's in retrograde, Mercury rules communication, writing, tech, things like that. Anything with communication. So it's when it's in retrograde and you're signing a contract, you want to make sure you're going extra slow and rereading that contract.
Hire a lawyer.
Yes. When you're editing content, let's just say you're not like one and done. It's, oh no, you know what? Let me go back and review this because I might have missed something in there or whatever. Because if you don't review and then you post it, then you're like, oh, ooh, I messed up on that part.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that contract, I didn't look at the dotted lines. And then now 9 months from now, you're like effed in a lawsuit.
Dang.
So it's just always reassessing and readdressing. And every retrograde per planet has a different vibe. So we have some retrogrades. We have one with Mars and then we have one with Venus. So but Mars is going to be retrograde for a while. Like it's retrograde now. We are currently in December as we're like filming this, or I don't know, recording it. And it'll be retrograde all the way until April. And Mars is one of those planets for, oh yeah.
I'm feeling it.
I want it to go retrograde. It's hard because Mars governs action, positive things. It's action, it's courage, it's drive, it's getting shit done. But the shadow aspect would be that it's conflict. It's penetrating things. It's tearing things apart. It's galvanizing things. So it's the planet of war. And we need to have war. We need to have conflict in a sense because sometimes you need that stuff to happen in order for change to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, and on a positive side, you need to have that courage, right, to be able to address things that maybe people don't want to address. So it has this both positive and negative aspects. But when it's retrograde, it's okay. Now it's like extra that. And it's probably going to lean towards like what you said, like the shadow side of it. So now the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's in Leo. And Leo governs the sun. So it would govern your sun sign. I'm a Virgo sun. She's a Pisces sun. So it's also going to add in that flavor of wherever your sun sign's at. That's also the part that it's going to retrograde against. So, so that's one of the things, like it's going to bring up the flavors of Pisces. And what does that look like when a Pisces and Mars comes together? It's like, it's a watery conflict. Just kidding.
Girl, I have all the water right now.
For Virgo, it's like over analyzing, but with like too much of that drive, too much of that power, like too much like in the mind and in the brain and being overly maybe critical or perfectionist, right? Okay. So it's adding like that extra like fire to everything. And then, it's the sun. So it's going to definitely affect the part of your sun, but your sun is a luminary. Your sun is what also needs to be shined upon. So we're being asked to look at 2 places in our chart. One is your sun sign. The other part is what house is your Mars in. My Mars is in Leo, which this one's going to be a heavy one for me because I'm having quote unquote a Mars return. It's returning back to my natal Mars placement, but mine is in the 9th house. Yours is in, let me see.
I don't remember.
I got you, girl. Your Mars is in, actually we're going to look at Leo. So your Leo is, because that's, okay, so Mars is in Leo. So we're going to look at the Leo part of your chart.
Okay.
And that is in your 4th house of family, foundations, roots, family.
Interesting.
So it's going to retrograde on that for you. For me, it's going to retrograde on my 9th house, which is about philosophy, long distance travel. Although I don't know that I plan to travel long distance anytime soon, but who knows? Spirituality, publishing. It's like long-term publishing things. So that's the areas in our chart where it's like asking us to go. It's actually giving you a lot of power, to be honest. It's like the gas is turned on, the stove is turned on, and it's lighting up that pot, that house. And there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of energy there. So it's like, it's a mixed, it's a good power, action, drive. But then there's also could be a tension point to it too. Ooh, is the water going to overboil the pot now? And now it's like oozing all over the place, right? So it's like having you review those parts so that you don't have this overflowing pot of water that's in its tension, right? So it could be conflict, it could be a lot of anger, or it could also just be a lot of like drive.
Yeah.
So the point of me bringing this in when it comes to manifesting is like, it's okay to do your little vision boards right now, but just know that you might need to come back and review it, or you should review it after spring, because now that's when that retrograde's done. And, and this is important because the sun is like where your ego is. The sun is where you do shine. And the sun is where we all identify. Like I can identify as being a Virgo sun. Oh yeah, that's me. If you say the archetypes, same for you. But then it's also it's also in that 9th house. And the reason why the sun is there, because Leo rules the sun. I forgot to mention that. Leo rules the sun. Because Mars is retrograding in Leo, which rules the sun, we're going to look at the sun placement in your chart. And then we're also going to look at what placement you have in that, where your Leo's at. And if you have planets, they're going to get a little retrograde too. So you have a south node in Leo.
Yes.
So it's going to retrograde on what are the things that, and I love this too, because this is like what we're all being asked to right now, especially with Mars and Leo and retrograding is what do we need to let go of so that we can shine? Because Leo is the zodiac sign of like, where can we have courage? Where can we be the center of attention, the center of the solar system, right? Where can our power come from? And so that sign, your Leo house, right? Whatever house is associated with Leo is always tied to your sun placement as well, because they connect with each other. So for you, it's like, you're going to be asked in these next 3 months or 4 months, how do I need to shine? What do I need to let go of, revisit, so that I can feel more empowered and basically light up my life? It's asking you in the realms of family. For me, it's asking in the realms of spirituality, philosophy, learning. Maybe I'm going to go back and I feel like I'm always learning something, but maybe this is something like where I'm just revisiting something to really like fine tune something, because it's going to be part of this bigger evolution, which I feel like for me, it's been a lot more so being called to do like more podcasts or more YouTube publishing. It's like long-term publishing. It's not like a short little thing that goes away, a written work. It's publishing something, putting it out there. That's that Leo. And it being a Mars return for me, it's probably more so tied if anybody else is having a Mars return. It doesn't happen very often. It happens, I think, once every 15 years. So there's a 15-year cycle when it comes back to the same point as your natal placement in your chart. I don't know. I have to think back 15 years. Oh, I was pregnant with my daughter. So I was birthing. Yeah, there was a lot of action going on.
Yeah.
But for me, I do feel like, because the 9th house is spirituality and philosophy. So I do feel like I've taken a lot of recent steps to let go of what are the things that don't align with me, like morally, philosophy, like my own philosophy, or what are the things that I want to step back into when it comes to spirituality and things like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, for you in the 4th house component, it's like, what do I need to bring in? And then what do I need to let go when it comes to family? Maybe there are some conflicts that are worth fighting for.
Yes.
And maybe there's some that are like, okay, I can't change anything. So I just need to let this go and take whatever I need. The 4th house is also an interesting place because it's the house of secrets.
Oh my God. I feel like I'm just getting so many downloads. It's like, oh.
Do you want to share? I'm just kidding.
Girl, I need a whole 2 podcasts for that.
She needs a lifetime episode. But yeah, if you're definitely feeling that energy.
Yes, I feel it. Yeah, I feel it. I was telling you when beforehand I had a breakdown over the holidays and just cried.
Yeah.
Just cried. Puddles. The dogs helped me through it. But yeah, it all tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes sense. It'd be like maybe some angry tears in there because Mars is there. Mars is that. Sure. I know I had that.
Yeah. It was, the little piece I shared
tears.
was like me and my brother-in-law I really wanted to be like, fuck you, dick. And I was like, we need to have open, good communication with each other when we are nice to each other.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you to my therapist.
Yeah.
For setting me up for success. Oh yeah, I did. I told Chris, I was like, I went out. I was like, F him, blah, blah, and I can't believe he said that. And then I just vented. And then I was like, okay, let me actually handle this the correct way. And yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I had some angry tears too this past holiday. But yeah, but that for you, it's probably more this energy to happen because that's changing the foundation of going forward.
Yeah, there's so many changes. Literally, if I just keep it in my family, there's 1,000,001 changes.
Yeah.
And it's, high emotions, a lot of stress and anxiety right now. So yeah, I'm feeling the Mars retrograde.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when it comes to this point of manifesting, it's like also looking at it from the lens of whatever house your Leo is in or your Leo rules. So if you're looking at your circle wheel on the chart, I like to look at the wheel chart. I don't really, some apps will have them like a square type thing or a list, but I like to look at the wheel and you can see what house is that rules your Leo. And that's where Mars is currently at. So when you're manifesting these next 2 months or whatever, looking at your chart and just being like, okay, this is the part of my chart that's actually could be one of those limiting belief parts that I'm being asked to be reviewed, or I'm asked to have this little internal conflict with. But then there's also part of this part in my chart where it's here to push me forward. And I'm saying that because the sun, remember, Leo is ruled by the sun. So it's still talking to your sun sign and your sun in your chart. Your sun in your chart is actually in the 10th house. No, sorry, it's not in the 10th house. It is
in the 9th house?
It's in the 11th house.
Oh, 11th.
Oh, no, wait. Yeah, the 11th house. So your sun is like asking, it's allowing all this stuff to happen so that there's like a more focus and emphasis on maybe the community that you create is your family. There's something about there that has to do with community work, and because it's the 11th house, which is the house of nonprofit work, friends, networking, and that's pretty much like humanitarian work.
Yeah.
So it's, allowing yourself to peel the onion with maybe some family stuff so that you can bring that to light into whatever you have going on in the 11th house. For me, mine is definitely about work because my son is in the 10th house. So it's okay. Now it's asking me, okay, once you do all this Mars retrograde shadow work, let go of that, and then use Mars where it's actually healthy, and where is the action and the drive, and how can I connect that to my 10th house or my 11th house, because those are the houses that you're doing the work in for the next early quarter of Q1 for all you entrepreneurs, Q1 of 2025. And a lot of it, that's why I love doing this work, because it's like we are being asked to evolve and to work on both shadow and light. And it doesn't just take place in one part of our chart. It can ping different parts of our chart. Also, quick note, Mars, when it does go retrograde, it does go back into Cancer. So it's also looking at where's your Cancer placement in this chart. So for you, it's the third house, siblings.
Oh, girl. It's
sibling you just talked about. And for me, it's going to go back, into my 8th house, which is all about death and other people's money and finances and inheritance and all that stuff, but we already got a taste of that. Mars was already in September, October, November. It was already in Cancer, and it took a quick dive into Leo. Now it's going to work its way back into Cancer, and then it's going to go back into Leo again. Because the station's retrograde, so it goes backwards. And depending on what degree it's in, it can go into the past zodiac sign, which is Cancer. And then once it's done with its little fuckery, then it'll pass through and go station direct, and it'll station direct in Leo again. It'll pass all those planets, if you have any, or whatever, So yeah, that's why I think when it comes to manifesting, vision board work or whatever you're going to be doing, journaling, really taking out your chart, bringing that into mind, your human design, are you non-specific manifester? Are you specific? Oh, okay. Now let's look at my sun placement, really embodying your sun sign, you know, for the first Q1. And then, okay, what does that energy of having this Mars look like going retrograde? And then you can deep dive into that. I will leave my astro guide below so then you can learn how to read the symbols and what the houses mean. Because really that's all you need to know.
Yes, I have one of your worksheets that helped me, and I'm like visually putting it into my brain so I can remember all the things that are in there. But also, people can book readings with you, like a natal chart reading, or was a transit reading, or a human design reading, so that you can understand what type of manifestor you are. I feel like those are good places to start before you do a deep dive.
Yeah. I think, yes, understanding your whole natal chart is great. Your human design and astrology one, because like you don't know what you don't know. So you have to, you know, make that investment, get a reading, because especially if you want to continue doing this type of work and peeling the onion on yourself, it's not just a one and done thing. I always tell people who do readings with me, re-listen to all the things that I give you, reread everything. Get yourself a fun book that kind of explains everything too, because you're going to want to revisit all these things. And sometimes the chart doesn't come to life when we're doing the reading. It comes to life for you maybe 2 months from now, maybe it's 2 years from now or whatever. And if we're doing a transits reading, those are really fun because sometimes I'll have clients just be like really quiet and then they don't say anything. And I'm like, so this is what's going on. Is it this or that? And planets are characters. So I can bring in a certain like story, but I don't, and is it this character or that character? Which one is it?
Yeah.
And then, so if you don't really open up and give me some sort, because I'm not psychic.
There are psychics.
Yeah, there are psychics, but I'm not psychic. I'm just trying to like, so it's nice. And I recently had a reading with somebody who like last week who was really like opening up. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. And I can see it all happening in the chart.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm just like, awesome, great. And then I'm moving the chart, like moving the transits to see what it looks like in a month from now or however long, or I'm sorry, like next year or whatever. And it's okay, now I can see the story that's happening today and right now, but I can see how it's also going to play out. And here's where here's like the cliff notes of what's going to be going on going forward. And it's, do you need an umbrella or do you not?
Yes.
You want to make sure you're wearing the right clothes for the weather. So that's really what a predictive astrology reading is. And usually when people book them, they already have a feeling like, I don't know what's going on and there's something that's going on and I need a little bit of either reassurance. Sometimes in the reading, it could be guidance. It could just also be some validation. It could also just be like, dude, you're on the right path or you're on the wrong path, girl. But they're very helpful in that way. So it's always helpful when a client is very open with sharing things. And again, I always respect people's privacy. So whatever you're comfortable sharing, and sometimes it's just there. Like sometimes it's like smacking me in my face. Like I'm like, you don't need to tell me. But there's times where it could get a little, wait, what are we looking at? So then that's when I would need like a story or something. But for the most part, they're really fun, and I enjoy doing those ones too.
And they're so insightful. Like for me to see the human design reading and my natal chart reading, and we did one transit too, and all of it, it gives you so much valuable information. And then you do it also for like couples or families. And you explained it to me one time as for the human design, but also the birth chart it's like a user manual. It would be like, hey, like this is the user manual of like my partner, Chris, and this is how he functions and he thinks and operates, blah, blah, blah. Like it's just another tool set to use for like, it's so helpful. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just so helpful.
Yeah. Yes. I know my husband's chart and I'm like, okay. That's like emotionally, we function differently emotionally. He's a Cancer moon. I'm a Cancer moon. He's an Aries moon. And those moons are like so opposite. They're like, they're just opposite. One's super fiery and one's super emotional. He knows because I always tell him I'm a Cancer moon. If I cry, that means there's an emotion there. That's how I express my emotions. And he'll just get fiery. But that's good to know because then sometimes I'm like, okay, let me give him some space, like to let his fire flames come down. And then, because I know if I approach when he's super fiery, he's just going to make me turn on my waterworks. So
it's just
start crying. Yeah, it's just more fire. And then that's not cute. Or he knows if I'm crying, I need to give her a break. I hurt her feelings. Do I know why? No, but let's take a little time out. So it's like nice to, again, it's perfect. Like it's just a user's manual, especially when you're opposite and you have opposite stuff like that. Because then it's like, you're not going to get it.
No.
You're like, why is this person so different than me?
So book a couples human design and birth chart and then go see a couples therapist.
Yes, that too. We're in therapy too. So yeah, I hope that this helps, understanding your chart a little more and looking into things. A good app or a good website is called astro.com. You can just put your birth chart information there. And then they do have a little transits button that you can pick, or you can click a button and it'll show where the current transits are. And it's usually the outer ring so there'll be 2 rings. The outer ring is usually the transit. The inner ring is your birth chart. And so it'll tell you like where the transits are currently at and how they're hitting your natal chart or not. But for that, you're going to have to know what the symbols look like.
Oh, yes.
If not, you're not really going to know what you're reading. So that's why if you get my guide, you'll get all that stuff. And you can have that out while you're looking up that. And then for human design, an app is mybodygraph.com. I like that one. That one doesn't color it differently than what it's usually supposed to look like. Another one that I like is my human design app. I think it's my human design app or I think it's myhumandesign.com. And she's the person who I did my human design certification through, Jenna. I think her name's Jenna Zoe. Sorry, it's been a long time. But she has an app, and then you can see the arrows there, but they're not going to be in the black and the white. They're actually like really pretty colors. So those are the 2 or 4, however many things and also Astro Seek is a really good one too for astrology because they will break down transits too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Astroseek.com. They'll break out down transits and stuff. Ooh, another person that I really adore and love. Her name's Chani. I personally have her app and it's called the Chani app. And it's a little hefty price. It's nothing cheap, but I like it. It's a nice little investment. Sometimes I need to get out of my own astrologer head. So it's nice for me to hear somebody else's giving me information about my own chart.
Nice.
She will give you your long-term transits and your short-term transits, but they're very based on you. It's not like one of those apps where it's for everybody. It's very specific to you. I think it's $75 for the year.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No. Yeah, and I like her. She's super femme craze and LGBTQ aware. Yes. She's so aware of. Yeah. I love her. She's like
inclusive.
Yes, I'm like, ooh, I want to be you. Can we be friends?
Put it in the stars. Specific manifesting.
Yes, I'll put it in my vision board to be friends with her. Yeah. So
cool. Yeah. So then today's, I guess, the homework / ritual is to get their human design charts, either online or book a reading with Arlene, and the birth charts, their natal charts. Same on the website, or book a reading with Arlene, and then consider all the retrogrades when you're manifesting this year and be nice to yourself.
Yeah, be nice. Some of this stuff's like, it just could also be a collective thing too, everything that I just shared. So you'll know when you look at your chart if there's planets there and all that, how that's set up or whatever. But yeah, happy vision boarding. Wishing everybody a happy 2025. It's going to be a ride of a year, Q1, but I think that really doing that self-awareness work will really help us transition into 2025 and into this next realm of whatever that is going to look like. And the more we work on ourselves, the more we can accept whatever reality is. And then more we can come from it in a place of at least knowing you and get your manual.
Yeah. Because, I mean, a lot has happened in 2024 and we are having a new president. And I know a lot of people feel a lot of different ways. And yeah, the manifesting, like Arlene said, is good for focusing on ourselves. And I think also just good for not losing hope. And a lot of us we do have our individual communities, or we do building communities. And I think like when we're manifesting, remember to save a little bit of space for that, because I think it's going to be very important for us in 2025, in the next 4 years, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't lose hope. I know it's really easy to get jaded and think of worst case scenarios, but there's still a lot of positive news, a lot of bright things happening, a lot of change makers doing a lot of good things for people and the general well-being of society. So it's there. It's just a little bit cloudy, but we're all there. Manifestors, everything.
I love that.
Awesome. So we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Espiritu Coffee Chats.
We hope you enjoyed our conversation and found a little inspiration to take with you.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform.
And stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more.
Until next time, keep the spirit alive and the coffee brewing. Cheers! Ow, ow, ow.